Hi everyone, it's Alex from Risk Academy. In this video I wanted to talk about the application of quantitative risk analysis. Because in my mind, and if you've watched videos from this channel, you would know that to me risk management is just a set of techniques, set of quantitative techniques that can significantly improve any business process in the company by adding a count of uncertainty to it. And so I've changed significantly a few business processes in my time. I've changed insurance and I've changed procurement. And so in this series of videos I want to talk about procurement. So procurement is quite an easy one because we found three places where quantitative risk analysis could be a very powerful contribution to the overall quality of the process. And these three steps are 3 points in the process: accreditation, pre-qualification, and tender winner selection, or winner selection as a result of the tender. In this video I want to talk about the first one, accreditation. That is probably by far the easiest one because that has actually been implemented by most organizations that I've worked with or dealt with. And the idea is very simple. When you sign up a new vendor, you take it through a set of automated checks to determine if there are any risks associated with taxation, bankruptcy, sanctions, or I wouldn't call it unethical but just some criminal activity. Let's put it that way, because it's not really about ethics at this stage. Ethics will come in later. So accreditation is a step in the procurement process. When you just sign up with a new vendor, you want to take it through a set of checks to determine whether you should actually have any kind of working relationship with that vendor. And because large corporations have thousands and thousands of vendors, and this process is almost non-stop throughout the year, it is much better, in my experience, to automate the process. And in order to automate the process, you really need 2 components. You need a set of sources. Where does the information come from? Factiva, Bloomberg, DNB, Van Dyke, and many other that you can think of, plus all the compliance checks, all the compliance registers, the government registers, taxation office. So you need to identify what are those sources. And then the second component that you need a risk model. Now the risk model can either be purchased off the market or it can be developed in-house. The important point to remember is that whichever risk model you've chosen, whether you've purchased it off the shelf or you build one yourself, you have to back test it. Because basically what this risk model does, it applies a series of checks, automated on a daily basis. It constantly reassesses every single night. It reassesses your vendors in case something changed and their risk profile should be different, and they were accredited last night but they wouldn't be accredited today because something happened. And because that model has quite a significant impact on who you work or who you don't work, you need to make sure that this model is calibrated well enough so it doesn't forbid good companies to work with you, and it also doesn't let through a lot of bad companies to come through. So calibrating this model is where the risk management value comes in, because we've done it. And here's the bad news. We've tested about 3 or 4 models off the market, off the shelf, risk models. And what we found is that their selection was random. We found 2 very important things. Thing number 1, unless the company is already bankrupt, there is a very high probability that bad companies will be allowed in and good companies will be blocked. So risk models off the shelf are not calibrated, have to be calibrated by you. The vendors will not do it themselves, which is very, 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 very disappointing, because they have so much experience in building those risk models. They should have calibrated them. Of course, the sales pitch that they always use is that, oh, every client is different and we allow our clients to calibrate it themselves. So that's basically bullshit. That's just saying we're not competent enough to calibrate it properly. And in fact, in the markets, like largest companies you can think of, that we have asked and we have talked about calibrating the risk model, out of maybe, I don't know, 5 large corporations, large vendors that offer that service, one was able to produce evidence of any kind of backtest. One. The rest didn't even know what this word meant. So that was pretty scary. So that was conclusion number 1. Beware of off-the-shelf risk models, because most of the time they are uncalibrated. But the second point is much more important. Once you start calibrating, you very quickly realize that the predictive power of such models using publicly available information is close to zero. It's actually very, very limited. So our original plan was to build a model that would help us discover quality issues, environmental issues, safety issues, ethical issues, basically looking for risk factors that would help us pinpoint the companies who should not get any advance payments, who may fault on the deadlines, and who may use counterfeit products and so on. And our conclusion was unanimous in our analysis, is that unfortunately publicly available information is useless for these purposes. It has zero predictive power, close to, I mean, of course it doesn't have zero, it has close to zero predictive power. And accreditation model, don't kid yourself, should not be used for proper risk analysis. Not yet. The next model, pre-qualification, is the one that I'll talk about in the next video, will help you uncover more risks, but not this one. So at the end of the day, accreditation model can pick up compliance risks, can pick up government's blacklists, can pick up bankruptcies, and maybe a tiny bit of taxation risks. But that's, that depends on your geography. In some countries it can't even do that. So, 2 important points when you build an accreditation model. Backtest it, because you would be surprised. And second, don't kid yourself, the predicting power is very poor. It's basically like it's this first very high grain check where you can pick up like really, really bad ones, but the gray area, you won't be able to pick it up. Not yet, not at this stage. So don't kid yourself. And this was very important finding for us. So we built this accreditation model, and we then settled a very limited number of risks that this accreditation model would pick up, because all the other risks we would pick up later in the process. I'm interested in your experience on integrating risk management into procurement. Please write in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Click like if you found this video useful, and I'll see you in the next video.